Good afternoon. Good afternoon, YouTube. Hope you guys are well. Let me know if I'm coming through okay. If you're in the room, say hello. I know it's been a while since I've streamed on YouTube Live. I am starting again. I know I've said that before, but I actually am starting again, the normal kind of procedure, as I was last time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But instead of doing them around lunchtime, UAE time, I'm going to do them just around this time, 5 o'clock GST, whatever time that is for you, just before the London Open. The reason why I stopped streaming at the normal time, a few months ago now, is that, I stream for members at 10:30, 11:30, depending on the time difference. So it used to be 11:30, and then now it's 10:30. Hey, Alan, mate, how you doing, pal? Good to see you. And I would then stream on YouTube at 1, and it was just basically too repetitive. I was saying the same things. Don't get me wrong, I loved coming on and streaming for you guys and seeing how you all were doing. But yeah, it just got a little bit repetitive. So what I've decided to do is stream it this time. So then I've got 10:30 in the morning for the members, and at least 7 or 8 hours later where I can talk about what's going on and a little bit more kind of a little bit more interesting than just being on repeat for the same kind of stream day in, day out. So yep, I'll be streaming here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, depending if I'm playing golf, but Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time. Okay, so let's get into the markets and see what we're saying. How's everybody's trading been over the last few months? Hopefully you've been trading well, and my trading's been okay. I've been pretty solid. I think Q1 could have been better. There's certainly things for me to personally improve on. But hey, we live and learn and we move on. That's what being a trader or anything is about. So SPX today. Let's get into it. I did say yesterday, if you're watching A1 Trading, I did say yesterday I was expecting possibly a complex corrective here on the index. It does not mean that we should panic and this index is coming off. I do think we are in a possible complex corrective right now, creation of possibly an ABC corrective. We are at the area where we're expecting stops to be taken out. We have had a decent impulse to the upside from a daily perspective. What will be interesting to see today or tomorrow, tomorrow being Thursday or going into the end of the week, is where are we going to stop? So we've come from this move, right? So right now, again, this is not worrying me. This day is not closed. The US is just about to open up, so they could push this index up. And if they do that, I would actually like this a lot better, because we want to see the digestion of this move. So again, it is still risk on. We want to see that pullback in the yen. We want to see that pullback so we can get involved in buying those commodities against those risk-off pairs. So if we do decide to come down, we do have this 220 as our area of dynamic support to price. And if we get a reason, our kind of RTE, reason to enter, roughly around this area, it may be a decent place to look at buying up those commodities again, depending on how those charts are. So risk on, possibly complex corrective. Look for the market to tell you that it wants to continue on in this upward trending environment. So risk on / slight pullback. Wait for that reason. Look at the 4-hour, the daily chart, and look for your bullish momentum. What we could and what we're kind of seeing here, you can just, if we put a line chart on it, right? We put a line chart on it here. What are we seeing? We're kind of seeing a loss of momentum from a decent impulse, losing momentum to the upside. So it may need a harder reset. And what we sometimes see in terms of these harder resets is that complex corrective before continuation. So again, if we give an example of that, the easiest one recently would be Bitcoin, where we got a similar kind of thing. So if we go down to Bitcoin, and this is good in terms of knowledge for your investment side, forget about the trading for a second. In terms of knowledge for your investment side, these are really good things to know. When to buy up for longer term investments. I bought the SPX on that corrective about 2-3 weeks ago, again, for investment purposes for 20, 30 years from now. But if you look at Bitcoin, we can see the same thing here. A decent impulse, slight loss of momentum, harder reset, and look at the effect that had on. So that's what I'm expecting for the SPX, and that's my personal bias. Dollar is looking okay. Dollar's looking okay. It's been in this rangy environment. We've broken out of this range. Currently retesting this area. I would have preferred if this came up and then did this, what it's doing now, but it didn't happen. Considering where we've been, I don't think this is massively extended. I think it's pretty healthy to the upside. You know, using that 20 could be good. Maybe we get some sort of complex like the SPX before continuation to the upside. A reason to buy the dollar would be probably the what my advice would be. I don't think there's a reason to buy the dollar just yet, but possibly tomorrow if we do that, get that complex, or towards the end of the week with a 20 catch up, your catalyst to go long, you know, certainly a bullish sign like this would be a good point to buy that dollar. So if any setups in it, I would possibly wait until you get that real confirmation on this DXY to buy up that dollar. But it does look good. The only worry would be how we close today. So if we do come down hard over the US, then it may put a little doubt in your head. But from here, it's pretty, you know, standard theoretical trend theory of impulse, flag, and push to the upside. So dollar looks pretty good on that retest. Okay, watch this today. So watch this today. This is what I've got on the basket. I am looking at AUDCAD potential breakout retest. So if we take a look at this, AUDCAD. AUDCAD to the upside. Who's in the room, by the way? Who's in the room? I know Alan's here. Any old names from the streams a little bit of time ago? Come and say hello. So AUDCAD, nice V reversal going with this trending environment. We had this V come back, a nice corrective. Not enough for me to take a breakout. I would have needed a few days here of consolidation, accumulation, let that 20 squeeze into the area just to digest this latest impulse a little bit better. So what I'm looking for now is this to come back, whether it be a steady state retest, a complex retest, back to this 20 for continuation of that trend to the upside. So something I'll keep an eye on over the next coming days. Breakouts. So we've got quite a few breakouts. I was looking at USDCAD this morning, and I'll show you that just to show you trades that I don't take, which I always think is quite a good thing to do. So USDCAD here is actually potentially still setting up. I don't like the fact that we broke this area. So in terms of breakouts, in terms of fake outs, this is not what we want to see. You know, we don't want to take breakouts that is kind of coming from deep. So I would prefer this to do this here, push on, then retest, i.e. making this trend healthy. So we have had a massive move to the downside on USDCAD. But this particular bar, you know, this is where you see a lot of fakes. You know, in terms of the daily time frame, do we think this is going to happen again? Not really. So we've had that fake out, possibly retail trapping shorts or trapping short retail traders. And we've got our confluence here for a counter trend trade, potentially to the upside. So V reversals are usually quite good in terms of this counter trend environment. If we do come back now, okay, if we do come back possibly between that 40-60 box before moving on, breakout retest, that's something I could look at in the coming days. But it needs to show me something a little bit more for me to be able to do that. Okay, Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss is a breakout that I'm potentially liking. I know Pound has got a little bit of momentum to the upside, but we got to think about the bigger picture and where we are coming from. So at the moment, it still potentially looks okay. Power of the trend is to the downside. Okay, we have come from this quite nice basing structure here. Okay, nice basing structure. We're just looking again to digest this move to the upside or to the downside, sorry. So if we think about our 30 to 50% digestion rule, okay, so from our initial basing structure here, we're looking at, from a range environment, a 30 to 50% digestion for our second structure. Okay, so we've got our first structure here, our second structure here in terms of a cup with handle or V reversal. Okay, so what we want to see, if we consider this 100% range, we want to have at least 30%, but ideally 50% in terms of our second structure. So I know that's kind of might be a bit difficult to grasp, but that's essentially what I'm looking for here. So to come back down, possibly fake out as it has done a few times where it's pushed up, being sold into, and then give us something here, some accumulation to take that break, to take that overall trend to the downside. So pound Swiss is okay. Pound USD, pound dollar, is another one I do like. Another one that I do like. I like where it is on the daily. You know, we pushed through. We've had our pullback, a healthy pullback back to that 20. And we are pushing down now, kind of hugging that 20 as well. If we zoom in and take note of this particular candle here, okay, this is certainly a bearish sign. This is what we want to see. You know, I talk about RTE, but also the concept of RTM, which is ready to move. Okay, so we've got this bar. We've got a little bit of volume coming in. It's obviously a rejection area. So it gives me that confidence for taking this potentially to the downside. Right, and those of you that know me will know that I like these kind of areas to take our break, what I call essentially B wave. Okay, so it's not the lows, but it's our kind of higher low from a larger kind of corrective from a downward trending market. It usually comes in the form of an ABC, right? This has not come in the form of an ABC, but it certainly is still considered B wave. Okay, so these are my favorite types of breaks, and you'll notice a lot of good movements from these areas. Okay, so we've got our basing structure. We are looking for our secondary structure and a bit of accumulation to take that break to the downside. I like that, and we're kind of getting what we want. So we're having a little bit of reaction, and notice how a slight fake here to the downside, again, possibly trapping those 95% of failing retail traders down here. Movement to the upside, and something like this to get me in on that break of GU down. I like that. You know, I do like that. Potential pound USD shorts. USD NOK. USD NOK is another one that I'm looking at. This is a counter trend idea, but this is a counter trend idea with some merit. Okay, so we've got this impulse down, but what we got here, a very large bullish bar coming on high volume. Now that's okay, okay? This is okay. Normally with these big bars, sometimes you see it fail straight into it, which is not what you want to see. But what we've got here in the preceding 3 days is that digestion within this bar. Okay, so that is really important. So it makes it healthier, and in lower time frames, we're getting that pullback. Okay, so if we look at the 4-hour chart, here, from this move on the daily, which is our big move, look at the pullback into it, probably into that 40-60 box, which makes it pretty healthy, right? So we're pushing on. So this is good. This is enough for a potential counter trend movement. So we've got our basing structure here, our pullback. We could be getting an ABC or an AB shallow C, okay, pushing on. What I want to have is this 200, so our breakout is above this 200. So this needs to digest a little bit more. So possibly something like this, where our 200 comes down, our 20 comes up, and we're taking that break above these moving averages. So we've got that form of dynamic support to our price and our stop loss in the form of those moving averages. So USD NOK with USD looking pretty decent to the upside and quite strong. This is a counter trend idea that I kind of like. So USD NOK I'm looking at. Okay, my favorite on the basket, and one I've actually put an order in, is for gold. So gold. Now I've taken, I don't know if some of you know, let me bring this up actually, because I think this is quite exciting. I've been testing a new strategy, okay? And I've been testing it for quite a few months, which I'm calling the aggressive strategy. So for people that know me, will know that I'm a pretty selective trader, right? And I actually want to take more trades, but in terms of ROI, that's the main thing. So I'm getting my ROI. I'm a profitable trader at the end of the year. But what I've started to notice is it's kind of pre-breakout patterns, or pre-breakout patterns that I'm starting to test and what I'm calling this aggressive strategy. So these are my results so far. Okay, so it's probably easier for me to say total current, which is I'm on roughly about 20% on 14 trades, which for me on 2% risk is great. If I can add a 20% to my current ROI, that's obviously great. But what we're looking for, with my breakouts and my breakout retest, I kind of consider it a pretty blue chip strategy, where you probably get your 20%, 30% at the end of the year, You know, there's no major thrills. It's a pretty solid strategy. It's the Amazon of trading strategies. I would probably consider it. But this one is a little bit more aggressive. Okay, and what it involves is setups that potentially look like this. So with gold, we've got this larger context of a V reversal. We've then got our ABC corrective, right? And notice how this corrective digests this big impulse. So this is good. Push down, tag that area again. Remember, as a breakout trader, we want this area tagged multiple times. We want to bang on that door so the area becomes less significant as we move forward. And then what we've also got is another AB and potential shallow C here. Okay, so in terms of my aggressive entry, my pre-breakout entry, I've sold this particular candle. Okay, it's coming on high volume, outside bullish engulfer, so I sell this candle and my stop loss is above here. Remember, this is not on real money. I'm just testing this at the moment. So I've taken that as an aggressive strategy. Now, on real money, this area, which is B wave, from this third structure, so we got one structure, two structure, third structure. Okay, so this is B wave on third structure, and what the pattern is here is our head and shoulders. Okay, so head and shoulders, also a few bars here of accumulation. So I'm not triggered in yet, but I've set my sell stop at this area and my stop loss above that kind of recent 4-hour candle, recent 4-hour swing to take this breakout to the downside. So this is nice. I really like this. You know, with dollar moving to the upside, possibly that inverse correlation continuing, I kind of like the play. We've got a V reversal here on the daily, and again, accumulating just prior to this area. Within that accumulation, you can see our larger head and shoulders on daily. So this is good. The fact that we've had our fake out candle here and our inverted hammer, right, but we've not taken within this next 5 candles. So when we see catalysts like this, okay, so when we see a catalyst like a hammer bar like this, we would normally expect them to take within 5 candles, not 5 plus candles, 5 candles. And it's not really happening here. So we can kind of not disregard it, but we can kind of stop worrying about it in terms of this should move up because of this particular bar. So I like it to the downside. So I've put my order in there. Again, there's an order in for an aggressive strategy, which is currently live, but my stop is above here, so I've still got time with that. My exit strategy, I just use one particular trade, and I use this parabolic SAR as my exit strategy. So again, I'm trying to go for, you know, the most amount of gain on one particular trade as I can. That's why I'm calling it the aggressive strategy. And if I show you a little good example of that recently, is on USD yen. So USD yen here, I actually took this one on this particular candle. Okay, so we had our cup with handle, and then we had our catalyst, my RTE, reason to enter, on this particular candle, which came on very large volume, or an increase in volume. So I was still in this, right? My entry was here, my stop loss was under here. Obviously, we had a few days where I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and then we had this massive move to the upside. And this is what's great about the SAR, is it keeps you in these large moves, right, and gets you out possibly at the top. Yes, there's pros and negatives of it, but I love the SAR. It's very simple. There's no thinking involved. I just wait simply for that dot above price action. So I got about, I think, about 10% on that particular trade from a 2% risk, which is good for me. So this is the premise of what I'm trying to do with this aggressive strategy, because a lot of the times I don't get into the breakout because I am very selective. You know, I need a bit more accumulation here, but this aggressive strategy gets me in on potentially good moves. So I'm in that on gold, and I like that potential gold to the downside. NZDCAD is another one that I'm in on from an aggressive strategy point of view, but also looking for a breakout. So these two lines indicate where I'm in on this NZDCAD, right? So what I'm looking at here was a V reversal and corrective in. So if I remove these lines, it's probably easier to see. And my catalyst and my reason to enter was this lovely inverted hammer, rejecting this 200, rejecting that 20, coming on an increase in volume. Okay, so this is nice for me. In terms of a breakout, I'm looking for this to come down, accumulate, and take this break to the downside. It is a counter trend idea because of our potential V reversal on the daily. Here, V reversal, potentially we're in this corrective. Okay, so this is the risk of it. But I think there's enough there from a weekly perspective to get me in. Okay, so yes, we have the V reversal here, but we are in a downtrending environment, and this could be our lower high and continuing with that downtrending environment. You know, rejection of that 200, and we continue on down. NZDCAD is a very volatile pair. So I like that idea on NZDCAD, to be honest with you. And it seems to be coming off a little bit now from a decent push. So, yeah, this is a good entry. And again, with this, I'm just using the parabolic here. So I'm looking for it to break through and stop loss above here. So that's quite nice. You know, gold and NZDCAD, I think are pretty nice trades to the downside, but still not in them on my kind of real account. And I think that's all she wrote, guys. Might be a very quick stream to start off with, but I'm normally not going to be on for hours. I'll probably stay here for 20, 30 minutes. So as I said, pound Swiss has got a little bit to go before it sets up. Gold is nice. I'm in that on my aggressive strategy, but not in that yet with real money. But I do like it short. Pound USD I really like. Could be something for the end of the week. NZDCAD, I'm in that on my aggressive strategy. Potentially going in that on my breakout strategy as well. And USD NOK has got a little bit to go. Need that 200 to come down before I take a break above it. But some decent setups. I think the market looks a little bit better than it has done previous weeks. We still need to digest these big moves we're seeing, for example, in the Aussie yen and, you know, basically pairs against the yen and the Swiss, really. You know, where we've moved pretty decently. We still are moving. I need this to digest a bit more. Well, not to that extent, but, you know, some kind of digestion. So we healthen up this move to the upside. And that just may take some time. That's where the patience comes in. That's where the patience comes in. So avoiding, you know, I would never go long on charts like this. This is where a lot of times, like USDCAD, you see those kind of fake outs. You see those kind of fake outs. All right, guys and girls. I appreciate you joining. Let me know if there's anything you want me to look at. Drop a chart in the chat if you want me to have a look at it. Come and say hi. You know, as I said, I will be on 3 times a week at this time from now on. We'll try and build some consistency. And yeah. So anything you guys want me to look at? But certainly my pick for today, I'll give you a few minutes, is that gold. Is that gold? Is gold. Gold down. Would be quite nice. But with the volatility, who knows? Who knows? So if this pushes to, for example, if this pushes above here, then I take my actual breakout order out because it removes the premise of what I'm looking at. So if we do push above, then, you know, I just take the breakout out. That's fine. I move on to the next one. But if it doesn't and we come through, then I take that order. No, all right, guys. Have a great day. I'll be back on Friday. Good to see some of you. Alan, good to see you. And trade safe. Cheers, guys. Peace.